Hi again, everybody. Welcome back to the Sanford Fieldhouse. I'm Terry Vanderbeck. We're continuing our Sanford Sports look at everything going on the planet with COVID-19. Maybe not everything, but the athletic side of it, the parent side, the coach side. And today we're going to focus on those coaches. Coaches in the modern era are, they're at the point, fortunately for them, where they're pretty active electronically. They're maybe accustomed to exchanging ideas with other coaches or informing their teams through video messages or text messages or online schedules, that kind of thing. At the same time, when things are getting canceled at this rate and postponed and uncertainty, they're at a loss on that coaching level, in addition to being at a loss probably as a teacher or as a business person or as a parent or all those other things that roll in. So that's the layer we're looking at specifically in this video is coaches. So for all you coaches, this is for you. Please share as you see fit. And if you have additional questions, please reach out to us on social media. We're trying to help as many people through this as we can in whatever ways we can. So today, again, Andy Gillham is here, our sports performance specialist. And Andy, so coaches inherently, part of their deal is trying to help kids, but help their teams win and be successful. It's easy to get caught up in that part of it and the results, and there's no results right now. I think as people saw this as a short-term issue, the concern was probably around, all right, how can I make sure my kids are lifting some weights at home this week so we can come back next week? Well,
Sure.
You're not coming back next week. And so we think the focus really needs to shift to helping the athletes through this as opposed to being concerned about results and being prepared to come out of this. Give us some ways that, or some methods for coaches to communicate with their athletes right now that's going to help those athletes more genuinely than being concerned about the underlying outcomes.
Yeah, so two parts with that is coaches, you are used to reaching out to your athletes. You're used to being daily contact in a lot of cases with your athletes. Even out of season, we got to abide by NCAA rules and those sorts of things, but you're used to being in contact with your athletes. You all just lost your season too. So you've got this whole angst, this whole, I can't do what I normally do, I can't do what I want to do. And most coaches, they coach because it's their passion, it's their hobby, it's beyond their career. So we need to be really careful as a coach that when we reach out to athletes, we're doing it for the athlete's benefit. Unequivocally, unquestionably, 100% for the athlete's benefits. Not simply because the coach has some angst. But there's some really great stories out there where I know a partner track coach. He spent the last couple weeks really helping his student athletes work through the unemployment process, because they all had 20-hour week jobs local somewhere.
Sure.
Now they don't have it. So track coach, never in his job description was filling out unemployment benefits, helping his student athletes do that. Roles change. And that's the kind of thing where that is 100% benefit for the student athlete, not just for the coach.
Yep.
You want to be careful for those pieces.
Sure. Another thing that you're a big proponent of at this time is professional development. Sort of like we're encouraging the athletes to do different things and use this as an opportunity to, let's say, get better at cooking so you can have better sports nutrition. Coaches have an opportunity right now during this downtime, as much as this isn't vacation. I think that's become pretty clear. But to pursue their own professional development. And there's a lot of opportunities online right now. The South Dakota High School Football Coaches Association, a group we work with a lot, their event every year that's usually in person was canceled. And so now some coaches have taken upon themselves to run it remotely and turn it into like a daily session, which is great. Talk about other things that you've seen or the importance of coaches pursuing that professional development right now.
Well, the reality is they have time to. And most coaches are grinders, right? They're not a 9 to 5 sort of, hey, look, and then I'm done. I'm setting my work down and I'm checking out for the day.
Yep.
No, coaches just grind all the time. And when they don't have their athletes and they can't get into facilities, they're going to grind on something. So rather than tell coaches don't grind, it's let's give you something else to grind about. Okay, so work through some of that professional development. When is the last time you sat down and really wrote out a coaching philosophy? What is it you believe in? What do you want your athletes to walk away from your program with when they leave? Same questions like that. So 10 years down the road, you run into an athlete in the supermarket. What is the first thing you want them to say? Do you want them to be grumpy at you? Do you want them to be angry because you were that hard-nosed coach? Do you want them to just come up with that total full-on hug? What do you want 10 years down the road? And are you coaching that way now? So there's that idea of a more base, a more values, a more coaching philosophically approach. Second piece there is most coaches, we as professionals as well, right? We go to conferences, we go to clinics, we go do those things.
Yep.
We take our notes because we're there, we're
Yep.
being good,
Yep.
and then we come home and we put
Forget
them on
it.
the corner of the desk. And then they get buried by the next day's stuff and the next day's stuff, and all of a sudden, we never implement. Now's the time. Dig through that pile and see, hey, this was a great idea, Wednesday afternoon's 2 p.m. session. Is it still a good idea now? Do you still want to put this into play? How do you make this work in your specific environment now? This is the best opportunity to do that because your daily fires aren't building up as much. You don't have the athletes stopping by your office. You don't have admin adding another 5 tasks to your workload.
Sure. Likewise, you may have time to just do things like, for example, I missed reading. Do you have time to read? Nothing bad can come from reading, right? And being exposed to new thoughts and ideas, and another small example. Another thing that coaches will, I think, be preoccupied with is the future. Again, they're creatures of habit like we all are, and they're trying to go, okay, whether I'm in season, out of season, there's always kind of a plan, especially in this era of year-round training and weightlifting and all that kind of thing. That's our world here. But coming out of this, whenever that is going to be different because we haven't been training all the time as much as we try, and we hope we're giving you all a lot of resources you can share with your athletes and written plans, live workouts, varieties of workouts. But the fact of the matter is, it's not the same thing as coming into the field house as a team 3 times a week and really getting after it. Tell us about things that maybe, again, you would encourage, or that you would encourage coaches to think about, and ways that we're going to maybe try and help them with that whenever that time is right. And again, don't get caught in front of the horse. This isn't starting tomorrow. That's why we're taking our time to think it through. But at some point, you're going to need to ramp up appropriately so the kids don't get hurt, don't get frustrated. At that point, it may be easier for them to just say, forget it, I'm done.
Yeah, I have a very large concern because coaches are creatures of habit. And most coaches have been doing this for a while, even if it was back to their playing time. And so they kind of know where their team should be with the playbook, or should be with communication, or should be with any of those pieces 3 days into camp.
Sure.
5 days into the season, second week, this is where I want my athletes to be. And my concern is that coaches they're not going to be in the moment enough whenever the athletes do come back to recognize that the athletes have been maybe sedentary even, but certainly not to the active level that they are used to. So the coaches will not recognize that, and they'll push them too hard, too fast, and the athletes are going to be so excited to be back doing something that they're going to want to go too hard, too fast, and all of a sudden we're going to have a slew of injuries, and then the coach isn't going to know, and it's not going to get better with the second, third string sort of players because they're going to have gone through the same thing. They also were less active, somewhere between that and sedentary, and rushing back in, it's still going to be the same problem. So coaches are really going to need to be mindful of that when it comes to some return to play, and hopefully they can find some good return to play protocols, some guidelines out there, and really help their athletes avoid some injuries when we do get back.
Even that phrase used, return to play or return to performance, a lot of times we use that here around kids coming back from like a torn ACL. And in this case, though, that's almost the approach that's going to happen. Now, not to the extreme on a weakened limb or a PT scenario, but for you guys to be aware, that's something we're working on with Andy's input, with our sports physical therapist, with our certified athletic trainers, with our strength coaches. So stay tuned for that. Or if you have questions, if there's another level of information you'd like us to provide or look into, that's what we're here for. We're doing our best to be in touch with people that like Andy works with, that the power folks work with, and pull out those threads and those themes we're seeing. But if there's stuff we're missing, please bring that up. We're more than happy to answer questions specifically and to assist you guys through this. And there may be something you're seeing that we're not even aware of that will help us anticipate and serve those needs. Again, and last thing, obligatory, please follow the instructions, be patient. We don't know the timelines, but we know it's not going to end next week. So try to come to grips with that the best you can. Take in some information, do some yoga, whatever things that help you stay where your feet are, Please keep that in mind and follow the medical procedures, and stay tuned. We're going to have more content coming for you soon.